Hey, South Asia Valorant players, I'm Sean Garris.
It's Kusta.
And Michael from Genji Valorant here with some really exciting news.
We have teamed up with LG Ultragear and the Esports Club for Season 2 of the Gauntlet.
The winner of Tec Gauntlet Season 2 will receive an exclusive one-on-one mentoring session with our Valorant team to help identify areas of improvement in their game to prepare for a higher level of gameplay.
In addition to that, we're going to be reacting to some of the top plays throughout this competition. Guys, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so make sure you don't miss out on this. Good luck to everyone competing from everyone here at Genji Valorant.
Gentlemen, and yes, we are back finally with the LG Ultragear Tec Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Brady, and it's been a long week and a long, hard grind from the side of the group stages, ladies and gentlemen, but we are out of it, and now we're going to be heading on down over on towards the playoff live draw event. You're now here, and you're now here to see exactly which of these teams are going to be facing off against whom, and how the brackets are going to be looking moving on down the line. It's going to be your boy Aggressive as the host this time around, joined by Universe and Floki. And honestly, tell me, you guys, how excited are you? Because I am pumped, and it's been such a long time since I last seen your beautiful faces as
well. I am quite excited to see how the drafts go. Last time around, we did see a fair bit of upsets in the upper bracket. We saw a couple of teams beat teams that they should not have. We saw teams having early exit. We saw certain teams having early exits, which also maybe shouldn't have happened. So I'm quite curious to see how the seeds go. As far as I'm concerned, though, I think the most interesting seed to watch is probably going to be Velocity and Global. I think those are the two that everyone is going to be looking out to see who they end up going up against. Because let's be real, this time around the teams are looking quite strong. So it's not going to be an easy match for Velocity or Global by any stretch of the imagination, no matter who they go up against.
New story, right then and there. And Universe, I want your thoughts at the very beginning stages before we head on down over to the live playoffs.
I mean, you look at this entire scene, right? You got 8 teams who have been pretty strong. I think Reckoning is one that you're gonna have to look at, and I mean, that's a team that has beaten pretty much every single top dog that you have in mind. They've beaten every single person that they've come across. I think they have just one loss, and Reckoning have just shown everybody that they're a group of people who just cannot be taken lightly, right? And they are almost as good as Global and Velocity, I believe, because well, if they face off any one of them, I don't think it's going to be an easy task, for Global or Velocity to take these guys down. So a lot of teams to look forward to, and I'm going to keep my eyes on Reckoning mostly. Apart from True Rippers, I feel that these two teams have improved leaps and bounds in the last 1 year, and they definitely are, right up there among the big leagues.
Yeah, so let's head on down over to the live playoff screens, ladies and gentlemen, see exactly which of these teams are going to get matched up against one another. Primarily, the main thing that we really do need to focus on here is the first seeding and the second seeding. The way that the seeding system works here in the Gauntlet is that the first seed will always go up against the second seed. The first seeds are not going to be intertwined with one another. They're not going to get picked up in that situation. So that's the thing that you normally get whenever you're on that first seed. You get that little bit of an easier matchup against the second seed teams, but at the same time here, Floki, tell me honestly, do the second seed even look easy to you? They're all top contenders, and they're just angry at each other. And possibly we could be looking at an El Clasico. Hey, we don't have any control over the randomizer, but if it's Global versus Velocity, you know for a fact that everyone in the chat is going to be hyped.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to watch how the fates intertwine, the fates of Velocity and Global Esports. I, for one, would love to see an early matchup, but I do feel like both of these teams should at least make it to the semifinals. So I'd be very happy if they don't end up matching up against each other early on. Because, there are potential matches here that, or potential teams here that Global Esports could lose to, and even Velocity haven't exactly looked infallible, So all of these teams over here are equally capable of knocking each other down. I think for Global Esports in particular, you don't want to be matched up against VALOR or Velocity. I think those are two of your toughest matchups that you're going to be going up against. If you're ENIGMA, you probably don't want to end up going up against Force One, just based on history.
Yeah, that's for sure. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're all waiting, so let's kick up the randomizer and pick out the first team here. So let's see who's going to get picked up from the side of Seed 1. It's going to be an interesting one for sure here. And the first additional one is going to be Global. Oh, we called it here, Universe. It started. The El Clasico could just be underway. And now Seed 2, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to be waiting for even a second. If it happens, this is going to be one for...
Okay, yeah, there it is.
Okay, I called it. Universe, I called it. Okay,
right.
Take a back seat. It's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat as well. I mean, I thought this would have been the fourth match, maybe the last two, You never know. But okay, straight off the bat, match number 1, Global versus Velocity. Hey, just another day, right? I mean,
it's another day at the office.
Yeah, just another day. And yeah, it's definitely going to be a match that everybody's going to be looking out for.
Yeah, so let's head on down to the profiles for Global Esports, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a matchup that we are hyped for, especially when you consider it's Velocity 2.0 going up against the Global squad once again. And honestly, I'm excited for this one, Floki. Talk us right through the roster, because these guys, they don't need an introduction, but hey, we need to talk about them because this is an El Clasico that could be one for the books, going past any of the other matches that we have seen coming on down through from both teams.
Oh man, Global Esports, just such a storied org in the history of Indian esports, right? They've been around for a while now. Every single place you go, you've probably heard of the name Global Esports. And what better way for Global Esports to start their journey in the playoffs by being matched up against Team Velocity? I think that's only fitting that they're going up against perhaps not a team or an organization that has been around for a while, but a bunch of players that have been around for quite a while, who have been on top of their game, and still are, to this day, I mean, just wrecking kids left, right, and center who try and step foot into the circuit. So, these two behemoths going at it is going to be super interesting to watch. Do look out for SK Rossi and Skills. Of course, if you're looking at the kills department, these guys can frag out when needed. But Skills, in particular, stood out to me a lot of times on the side of Global Esports. When it's not SK Rossi, it's him you can fall back and rely on to carry you through the round. So, Global Esports, do look out for these two guys. But Hellranger, Kappa, and Lightning Fast, I mean, these guys are also not to be underestimated. Hellranger, he has a wealth of experience, so does Kappa, and that's sort of what you need to guide some of the younger folks here in Skills and Lightning Fast, just to help them be comfortable in those sorts of uncomfortable situations that they might fall into. So, Global Esports, if there's anything you want to look out for Hellranger's Breach, because rest assured, if we go to Ascent or Bind, somewhere or the other, that Breach is going to sneak in.
Yeah, it's going to be one that we cannot even expect here. Like, my brain is still trying to process. I was joking around when I said that, hey, it's gonna be an El Clasico right at the very beginning. I called it, and it was the side of Global Esports coming. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking a lot about the side of Global Esports. We can't forget about Velocity 2.0. So let's head on down over onto their team profile and see exactly who's going to be playing from their side and universe. We got to talk right through this roster because this roster has gone through multiple iterations and a lot of changes as well. So this new roster could just be one that takes the entire scene by storm and could be another thing that takes down Global Esports as well.
Yeah, I mean, Velocity Gaming, what can you say about this team? They've been at the very top of this game. They've had their ups and downs, and right now they're looking like they've had a few downs in the group stages, but they can come back up because, well, pretty recently they've got one player on that left side who, just another guy around the lane, walks around a bit with that jet. Yeah, he just walks around, pops a few heads, and nothing too much. Deathmaker has joined the illustrious lineup of Velocity, and he is going to be, somebody that they're going to fear. MW1 also has had a pretty great impact on this team, and now it's going to be Deathmaker to join him along for that duelist role. And not to forget, every single other person on this before these two joined up were also very damn good. Amaterasu, right to Ace, Vibora, Helaf, and Marzil, all of these players have shown their worth. They know everybody knows how good they are. They've got, a pretty standout lineup, one of the best in the region, if not the best, compared to Global Esports at least. And, it's just Velocity Gaming they've been more of an emotion for their fans, not just a team. And that's exactly why every time they win, we see so many hearts being spammed in the chats when we see them play, or even when they're not winning. There's always that support because Velocity Gaming is one of the biggest teams there is in the country, and they continue to show us why they are considered to be one of those. But if they're going up against Global Esports right up in the beginning, there's gonna be one loser, and that's for sure. And one of them is gonna have to fight for their lives throughout the rest of the tournament. And I don't know who's gonna make that lower bracket run, or are they even going to get through that entire lower bracket run is a question. But it's going to be a hell of a fight right up in the first match of this playoffs.
Speaking of the first matches, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep in the brackets here and see exactly how it's going to be looking. A very scripted matchup right at the very beginning. Everyone in chat is going to be spamming it. It's going to be scripted, but hey, we don't control the randomizer. The randomizer controls us. Global versus Velocity right off the get-go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a match that we would expect it to come right at the very end. The hype would build up. The people would get all giddy. But hey, getting it right at the very beginning, that's a treat that you don't want to miss, especially when you're here on the LG Ultragear Tec Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant. Make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, because if you don't want to miss this matchup, you got to make sure to hit the bell as well, because this is going to be one for the books and possibly one that could just set the revenge story for the entirety of the playoffs as well. But anyway, we're hyping up the side of these two teams a little bit too much. Let's head on back to the live plays, ladies and gentlemen, and pick out our next two teams. So let's start up the randomizer and check out who's going to be picked from the side of seed number 1. Ooh, it's going to be the side of ENIGMA getting picked up now. So let's roll seed number 2 and see exactly who they're going to be facing off against. Okay, Floki, I'm going to give you this one because you're the one who actually wanted this matchup previously.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to see ENIGMA versus VALOR for a long time. ENIGMA versus Force One would have been hilarious, but
yes.
Yeah, ENIGMA versus VALOR, I'll settle for that too. So, ENIGMA, of course, they've had a lot of roster changes. They've had a lot of people move around and about. So, them going up against VALOR could, it could get a little dicey because VALOR's actually stuck around for a while, right? These guys have been playing together. These guys have had some experience against the other members of their group, of course, True Rippers, Velocity, and Force One. So they've got a few, tricks up their sleeve. The question is, can ENIGMA integrate that same level of play and strategy that VALOR have developed over the course of time, given the fact that they just underwent a roster shuffle? I think that's the big question mark for me, and that's what I'm going to be curious to find out. But ENIGMA versus VALOR, one thing I can say is that it's going to be close. It's not going to be a match where either side is just going to stomp or roll over the other one, unless, Hunter and the boys pull out something unexpected on VALOR. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be one that you don't want to miss out on, because this match, it could go the distance. I mean, BO3, overtime, you name it.
Yep.
This match probably's got it.
Yeah, match number 1 started off with a banger, and match number 2 is just going to be as good. And hey, speaking of the match, we got to talk about the teams as well. So let's head on down to the team profile, ladies and gentlemen, for the side of ENIGMA Gaming, and see exactly who's going to be playing from their side. And now, Universe, the main thing that I really want to highlight is that they did lose out on Batman. Batman's no longer part of this roster, and with High on Life playing in his place, I really am worried of how the team dynamic is going to be changing now. Will he be able to fill in those shoes? It's going to be the real question, especially up against VALOR, a team that is known for their aggression. Without Batman, they don't have that strong anchor anymore that's going to hold down a side properly.
Yeah, Batman has been one of those, really composed, calm, and in their game kind of players. He knows how to stay in his element and still cause a lot of damage. And he was one of the best players on ENIGMA Gaming. This roster has been around, and they've deemed to be, right behind, at least, if not 2, maybe 1 step behind Global Esports and Velocity. They've beaten them before on some occasions, and they've got success in different ways. But ENIGMA have not really had the best of time in terms of their roster shuffle this time around. High on Life is going to have a really tough time, trying to fill in the shoes of Batman, because, well, just for starters, he's not played with his team at all, and to step in right now is going to cause a lot of disruption, and that might just be working in the favor of VALOR, because, well, that team is looking a lot more stronger. Even though they had a few downs in the last few matches of the season, VALOR are still one of the best contenders there are as the underdog team. So ENIGMA need to keep their shoes tight. They need to keep their guns right up on their shoulders, or wherever exactly it is they're holding them. But they need to hold on to it tight, because VALOR is a team that's definitely going to come at you with full force. And I mean, talking about the rest of the players, Hika, Ezzy, Rawfuel, and God Vexy, they've been really, really influential for this team. And I really hope that, it does not sway them away from what they've been doing with Batman into a region where they are without Batman. So let's see how it works out for ENIGMA.
It's going to be a very difficult one, because we look at ENIGMA, we think about consistency, we think about the unknown, we think about different types of strategies that we have never really seen. And without their star player, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I do honestly hope that ENIGMA, they're going to be powering through, because now, with their opponent being Team VALOR, let's head on down over onto their team profile and see exactly who is going to be playing from their side, because this squad is an absolute powerhouse of a team. Having Pixels, Hunter, Strokey, Buster, Bullet, and Pasha Sahel. They have so much firepower on their roster, especially with Hunter on the helm of it all here, Floki. This guy is a Sova with 268 kills, 234 ACS. Explain to me which Sova can pull off something like that other than Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, this is just something that I think a lot of the people in the pro scene are just starting to discover recently, is that Sova is actually, it's very possible to play him in a very aggressive play style. Is it risky? Yes. Does it require you to function more like a duelist? Yes, but it can be pulled off. Most of the kills that Hunter has got, though, has just been him playing with discipline. He's not been particularly aggressive for his team, because Buster and Pachasal do that job rather well. They're always the ones entering. Hunter and Pixels, these guys are usually the second ones into the site, and sometimes even Strokey. So that's why you see Hunter just propped up there. It's on the back of Buster as well as Pachasal, just going in there and rolling there down in the mud. So you can have all the glory on Hunter. So yeah, that's one of the bigger reasons why Hunter has been there. But his performance has also been very, very strong, of course. He's a very experienced player, and he knows his way around any map in Valorant. And on top of that, just a little fun fact here, he's also been recognized. He's also represented India in snooker. So go figure. He's a man of many talents. He's capable of a lot of things. You shouldn't underestimate him. But even all the other players, Pixels, Buster, Pasha Sahil, Strokey, Bullet, all of these guys are super experienced, right? It's just about them meshing together. And that's what's come together for them in this season. That's why they were able to beat some of the Titans here. And yeah, that's why these guys are a team that need to be feared when you're going to be going into the playoffs.
Team mix up with young bloods and old bloods like Buster and Hunter. Hey, you can't ask for a better team. They're the ones to rain everything down, and they're the ones to go in for the strategic plays, and they're the ones to bring in the win for the side of Team Valor. But hey, we're talking about the team, so let's head on down over to the brackets and see exactly where they're going to be seeded into here. And as you can see, they're going to be the second matchup, and whoever wins out between the Global versus Velocity game will be taken on either Enigma or Team Valor. I'm going to be excited for this one, Universe. What about you?
Yeah, definitely exciting because, you know, we've seen Valor beat Global before, and if they beat Enigma, that's going to be a rematch over there. And if we see Velocity come up against Valor, then that's another match that I think we all would be hoping for, because if Valor were good enough to beat Global, then they might just be good enough to beat Velocity. Whereas Enigma, I'm not quite sure if they have to jump on this, because even one player not being there who was on your roster for quite a while can cause a little bit of a, you know...
won against Velocity, if I remember correctly, Universe. Yeah, Enigma actually won against Velocity originally.
Yeah, they did, but that was the first match, right? And that time, Badman was still in the roster, and it was as alive as it could be. Enigma still are one of the best teams out there, but I think that, you know, because of this one single roster change could cause them a little bit of disruption in their entire playstyle, because, you know, High on Life has to adjust into whatever role that Badman has left, right? Whatever agent Badman used to play, he needs to play that, because the rest of the team needs to try and make him fit into the role that he, well, quite literally has not played before. Or, you know, you never know. What if he's a jet main outside of, you know, what he plays in the team in, right? So you don't know how exactly it's going to turn out to be, what it's going to turn out to be. But whatever it is, there's going to be one winner in Global and Velocity. There's going to be one winner in Enigma and Valor. And the winners of these two matches are just going to cause a lot of damage to each other when they face off in the upper bracket semifinals. And I can't wait for that match.
Honestly, it is going to be a revenge story or a possible hot and spicy one. Indeed, we never really know. We got to see which teams are going to be playing and what is going to happen there as well, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, that's all about these teams. We got to head on down over to the live playoff screen once more, because we still have 4 more teams who do need to get seeded into their own positioning here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start off the randomizer and pick out seed number 1. Ooh, it's going to be Reckoning getting picked up for seed number 1. So let's start up the randomizer one more time and pick out seed number 2. Who's going to be going up against the Juggernauts here? Will it be Force 1? Oh, it's going to be True Rippers versus Reckoning. Both of the underdogs of this entire season are now going up against one another. So let's head on down over to the player, towards the team profile for the side of Reckoning here, ladies and gentlemen, because this main start of this entire tournament, I have been amazed by the performances from Reckoning. So from the side of True Rippers, but Reckoning has taken it to a completely different level. Folky, look at their stats. Look at it.
Yeah.
Everyone has over 270 kills. Other than Jubin, but Jubin's on a Sova. He still has over 200 kills. How? Why? What?
I mean, this team it's ridiculous how good they are as a unit. I mean, there's been times where I've underestimated them, and, you know, I've got flack for it, and for good reason. Not flack from any person per se, but just flack in general, in the sense that, you know, I miscalculated. I didn't expect Reckoning to be such a strong team and come out swinging. So yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to say apart from the fact that the addition of Ewan and Bondef has really helped the team find its footing. And the fact that you have such an experienced player playing that duelist, you know, Bondef playing that race, it can really, you know, sort of ease the learning curve for you a little bit when you're going up against these top tier teams, because you have such a solid duelist player. You guys have such a solid player who's always going to be going out there and getting those frags and getting you out of sticky situations or creating trouble for the opponent team, that you have more time to work on your flaws. You have more time to recognize your mistakes that you're making, because you know, if you're a unit that's composed of 5 fresh players who've never played competitive before, yeah, it is almost impossible to try and improve as a team, because there's going to be so many mistakes made, and mistakes on top of other people's mistakes that you're going to have to fix. So just having someone like Bondef gives the team a sense of direction that Reckoning it might have lacked last time around. So yeah, I'm going to be quite interested to see what they end up doing. But yeah, watch out for Trist. Watch out for JN, watch out for Ewan, watch out for Bondef. I mean, watch out for everybody, man, in all honesty. Even Panzer's looking damn good on that Omen with 181 kills.
Yeah, these guys are just so well-rounded that I was surprised. Whenever I first saw this roster coming on down through, I was like, yeah, it's Reckoning. They're possibly going to be getting the 4th position. They're barely going to be able to make it into playoffs. And now, at the end of the group stages, I got slapped in the face by them and being like, hey, you're not supposed to underestimate us. We're going to be the number 1, and we're going to be the ones to take it all away, probably. That's the side of Reckoning, and that's what they're fighting for. They're fighting for number 1 here. Not number 2, not number 3, number 1. So let's head on down over towards the side of True Rippers team profile and see if they're going to be the ones who possibly take down the juggernauts of Reckoning, because when you look at their track record here, Universe, Reckoning, they almost have 0 losses. They only lost 1 game against Philosophy, I do believe, but that's pretty much it. But for the side of True Rippers, that's a completely different story. Let's see their team profile and see exactly what we can expect coming on down from them, because honestly, when we consider True Rippers as a squad, they have done a lot. They have been able to be consistent throughout the entire thing, but there's a very massive problem with them. It's their consistency. Feel like they started everything off with a bang, but right in the middle and right at the end, they just kept on dropping the ball, and they lost out on matches that we were really surprised about. They shouldn't have lost any of them.
Yeah, there were a little bit of a there was a little bit of a problem, with True Rippers trying to find their footing. And they had a great start. They still have players who can absolutely terrorize the server, especially that man right there on the left. We've got Paradox. He's one of the best players as a Jet around that we've seen. He competes with Knight Rider. He competes with, SK Rossi. He competes with anybody and everybody who plays Jet, and he's trying to be the best that he can as well. And he's leading this team right up from front. He's got 255 kills. And not to forget that this is a team that has grown a lot since the last season, right? Last season, they couldn't qualify, but this time they've made it through. And all of these players have improved, not just individually, but as a team together. They've done a great job at finding their footing and trying to come up on top of these, big teams. They have a chance. I feel like Reckoning probably are the best opponents for them, because these two teams, we've been watching them come out on top of these big teams for a while now. And I think a lot of people would be waiting for this matchup, because Reckoning and True Rippers have these underdog players like we talked about. And this is a match that I think a lot of people should be watching. This is the pure base, raw level of Valorant esports in the region. And you're not going to watch anything better than this, I believe. There's going to be a lot of tactical warfare. There's going to be a lot of, out and out fire gunfare. Everything is going to probably be in this match. And apart from the El Clasico, I think this is one match that I'm going to keep my eye out for the most.
This is the El Clasico for the underdogs here, Universe. You have to say, both of these teams, they're the underdogs who have risen to the top and brute force their way into the tier 1 Valorant scene. I would personally say that True Rippers, they are now tier 1. Initially, they were tier 2. I always used to say they have a lot of places to grow still, but after the boot camp, after playing together for so long, they're a team that have broken the walls and gotten themselves into tier 1. Reckoning itself, they were tier 1. They had a massive fall right at the very end, and they had to reshuffle themselves, but now they're back to their old position. They're now the ones contesting to be that top 3 team in our entire region. But True Rippers, they're not going to be cutting them in slack here. So in the gauntlet, in the playoffs here, they need to prove themselves to build up a proper base and take down these juggernauts, because if they do, they're going to be the ones to take that position away from Reckoning Esports. But moving on down the line here, let's head on down over towards the brackets and see exactly where they're going to be seated and which match number they're going to be on here, ladies and gentlemen. Because looking at the brackets again, Reckoning versus True Rippers, they're in a pretty good spot. They don't really have to worry about the other juggernauts just chilling up there on the upper bracket stages. Everyone else is seated. And Reckoning and True Rippers, this is going to be another top dog story. Sorry, another underdog El Clasico, I would say, between these two squads.
Oh, yeah.
And Loki, I want your thoughts on this.
I mean, I just have one thing to say. Out of all the teams that you've seen so far, notice that One Tap God is the only controller player who has an average combat score of over 200 and has a very good KD. That's all. That's all I have to say. So True Rippers, if you're counting them out, just remember that one little tidbit. That's all.
Okay, so that's that for the side of Reckoning and True Rippers, ladies and gentlemen. So let's head on down over to the live playoff screen one more time. And hey, Universe, I'm going to ask you, can you guess who's going to be seed number 1?
Oh
like,
no, I can't guess. No, I'm sorry. I just cannot guess what's gonna
It's
happen.
impossible. What the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
oh
too
my
tough
god,
question.
it's Team EXO versus
Who would have
Force
thunk?
One. No way. How is that happening?
a
Yeah.
truly interesting start and a very interesting finish to say the very least. But hey, let's head on down over the team profile for the side of Team EXO, ladies and gentlemen, because this is gonna be one that we kind of expected, but at the same time, I don't know. Force One versus EXO. This is a matchup that I don't know how I feel because Force One as a roster, they're really strong, they're really potent, they have worked out their kinks, and now they're the rising stars who have taken on multiple other of these juggernauts, but at the same time, they have their own consistency, and so does the side of Team EXO. They're still trying to work out their differences and see who's going to be playing what from time to time. Ghost, though, with his recent addition here of the universe, feels like to be the one that you need to look at all the time because Ghost has just completely shifted this roster from being lackluster into being so control heavy and so aggressive that EXO, they have a new name for themselves. They are the aggressive kings in our entire tournament.
Yeah, they most certainly are the aggressive kings, as you say it. You know, every single one you can see, they're about 200 kills, except for Wimp, who's on 197. So, and that's not even bad because I think he's got the best ratio over here. I think apart from
They played very
Sai.
few matches, dude. Like they
Yeah,
played very few matches.
yeah, he's got probably the best, ratio over here, except for Sai, I believe, because if he gets a few more kills, he's gonna be in the 200. That's 3 more, and he's got the least deaths as well. And he's been, Wimp has been one of those unsung heroes for the team, just like Blackhawk. As explosive as Sai, Excalia, and Ghost are, the team wouldn't be complete without Blackhawk and Wimp. They've been so very good for this team as the controller, initiator, sentinel role switch up. And Sai also chiming in every now and then. He plays a Killjoy, he plays a KO, he plays even the Sova if needed. He can play whatever he wants, and he just does a good job at it. And not to forget, the two duelists, the explosive ones, Ghost and Excali, have just been crazy, crazy players. They've taken the reins and they've gone up straight up front. You can see both of their stats. Both of them have pretty much the same kills, the same amount of ACS as well as just the 2 ACS difference, assists as well as pretty much same. So you can see that it's a team effort by both the duelists over here. It's almost like they're twins at this point, except for one plays the Jet, other plays the Raze and the Reyna. So yeah, Team EXO, definitely a team that has improved from what it was supposed to be last season at Samurai Esports, where they got out pretty quickly. They lost their first match in the upper brackets, and then they lost the first match in the lower bracket as well. And if I remember clearly, that was by the hands of F1, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was F1. So this is their revenge story now at this point. They need to take down Force One, and they need to showcase that this new team, this new organization, this new roster will be the one to rise to the top. But hey, talking about the side of F1, let's head on down over onto their team profile and see exactly what they have cooking up for us when it comes down to their own roster. And this squad, man, this squad has stuck together for so long. I've seen these names of Scargod, Knight Rider, and Shibi always stay on one roster, and I have never seen them get separated, ever. And now with Rafa and RVK as well into their additions, this roster is a strong one, but at the same time, they still do have flaws they need to work out. Don't you think so, Flo?
Absolutely. I mean, first one, we all remember what happened last time in the playoffs. Even though they managed to somehow win that PO3, they just don't want a repeat of that happening again. Scargon, Nighthawk, and Chevy, as you rightfully put, have been around since the days of Far Esports, which is what these guys used to play on. Oh yeah, I mean, so much like you rightfully pointed out, aggressive. These three, they're such a close knit unit, and their synergy is so well set together. But even Rafa and RVK, who are players who are probably a little bit newer to the squad, even they managed to adjust together so well, and they blended in so well that it never occurred to me that these two players were never on this roster. About a year or so ago. So yeah, the playstyles have blended very, very well. RVK is just a mastermind on that lurk. His Cypher and his Sheriff is a thing of beauty. Rafa, every single time you need someone to go in, he's the guy to raise his hand and be like, yes, absolutely. So you've got the psychopath duelist on your team as well. Shivi, he's the calm, the calculated guy who keeps everyone in check. He's the guy who's gonna get the most out of his utility and is probably gonna stay alive the longest as well. And then you've got Scar God and Knight Rider, of course. Knight Rider, needs no introduction. ScarGod, the man known for a lot of things, a lot of memes, and also a lot of plays. Previously a duelist, now a controller. His fragging, it hasn't changed.
Yeah, his aim game is always going to be on point, and that's ScarGod for you, ladies and gentlemen. He's always going to be the one who brings down the A game to the table every single time. But hey, speaking of the A game, let's head on down over to the brackets and finally look at the completed sheet and see exactly who's going to be playing from start to finish. No changes whatsoever. We already have our teams here, Universe. They're going to walk us right through them and tell me what you expect from this.
I would want to say that Global Esports honestly, that first match, I have no idea. These guys, it's like they win one, they lose one, they win one, they lose one. It keeps going back and forth between Global and Velocity, so I'm just gonna let that be. But I feel that VALOR might just take the better of ENIGMA. I really think that they have a jump on them just because of that one roster change, and that's a huge advantage, honestly. Having one of your mainline players not being there is going to cause a lot of problems, and I think VALOR need to take that into consideration and just focus on where exactly they can hurt ENIGMA the most. Reckoning versus True Rippers is another match where I think I can't say anything. I think I've been wanting for this match to happen for the longest time possible. It was unfortunate that they were not in the same group, but now that we're going to see them on the playoffs, we might as well see them come up against each other 2 times if possible, that is. If Reckoning, if whoever loses goes down to the lower brackets, and then if Reckoning or True Rippers, one of each from the upper bracket comes down again, we could see another matchup depending on who wins and who loses. All that's for speculation, though. And EXO versus Force One, I think this one, I'm going to stick with EXO because EXO have improved leaps and bounds. And I think this time with the revenge story in their minds, they're not going to come out any slower than they did before. They're going to come out with guns blazing. They're going to come out with whatever they got, and they're going to take Force One up to the top of the mountain and drop them right down. It's going to be difficult for sure. Force One, I'm not going to let them do that easily, but I still think that with the amount of momentum that EXO have been going ahead in the group stages, they are definitely going to go ahead, and I would love to see that matchup of True Rippers and Team EXO come yet again as it was in the group stages, because that was another spectacle when it happened earlier. But yeah, overall, I think that I still have no idea who's going to win this. Most of us would say Global Esports or Velocity. It's probably going to be one of them going all the way in the upper brackets and one of them going all the way in the lower brackets until they meet in the final. But I'm just going to have to, say that I want to give the benefit of doubt to probably Reckoning or EXO. I think one of those teams might just surprise us.
Yeah, I'm really... I just can't wait, man. I'm very speechless. This bracket is something that we never really expected. This is the bracket that we wanted, but normally when we consider the brackets of season number 1, it was a little bit much more tame. It's something that it was normal, not as excited. But this one, man, season 2 shape it up to be one of the best seasons ever. And if season number 3 is going to be anything like this, it's just going to get even better moving on down the line here. The Tec Gauntlet is just hyping up to be more and more and more better moving on down the line here. So Floki, do you have any more closing thoughts on the bracket before we do close everything off here?
No, I mostly agree with everything that was said. But I'm just going to give one prediction that I think is going to rile up the masses, and that's going to be between Global Esports and Velocity. I feel like Global Esports are actually going to have the edge going up against Velocity. They are probably going to have a much better time, and even though on paper it doesn't usually seem that Global Esports are able to edge out Velocity, this time around I feel they're going to come out swinging.
Because this is the start of everything, and this is pretty much the end of everything as well, because all of these squads, they're prepped up, they're ready, and honestly, I'm really excited for all of this as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be everything that we have for the playoffs. The stage has been set, the teams are going to be ready. We matched everyone up, the grouping has been done, and now it's for them to battle everything out and showcase to us why they deserve to be the champion of the LG Ultragear Tec Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant, because if they want that prize of getting coached by one of the best teams in NA as well, being Gen G, they need to work their butts off, and they need to showcase to us they deserve this win. They deserve the prize pool, and they deserve everything that we are giving to them. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything that we have for you for this live playoff draw. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you're all excited because the El Clasico is there. Another El Clasico has been made as well for the underdog. A lot of close nitty-gritty matchups and a Ren story also being served from the side of EXO and Force One. We got everything here. We got the entire menu on board for you on the TSC channel, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, if you are down here and if you like the content that you're seeing right here and now, make sure to hit that like, hit the subscribe, and also hit that bell to get notified as soon as we do go live with the first initial match. And as you are hitting those buttons down there, make sure to check the links out as well, because we have a lot of good deals from the side of LG Ultragear, WD Black, and also AMD Ryzen Radeon. Get yourself that processor, get yourself that SSD, and also get yourself another monitor, because you don't want to play on a nifty monitor that you don't have 144 hertz on. You can't blame that monitor if you're going to be playing on season number 3. You got to beef your setup up to make sure you play at your very best. And hey, be at TC, we got you covered with all the deals from we got for you. But for now, it's going to be your boy Aggressive, joined by Floki and Universe, signing on off. And hey, we're going to be seeing you tomorrow at 4 p.m. with the first initial match of the LG Ultragear TC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. We'll catch you.